没有任何力量能够阻挡中国人民和中华民族的前进步伐。
Growing tensions over a small island of 23 million people threaten a delicate peace.
Taiwan is on the front line, and we understand our responsibility as a democracy. We cannot fall.
At a choke point of the world's economy and the front line of the global fight for democracy.
Putin, Ukraine, China, Taiwan, there are manifestations of the battle between autocracy and democracy. And that is a fight that we're all engaged in.
As an aggressive superpower rises across the water.
No one should think that we're already well prepared. I think the only chance we have is to show that the 23 million people here living in Taiwan are united behind this common cause, this single cause, to defend our home.
Taiwan conducts annual military exercises, testing its defense and showing its resolve against a possible Chinese invasion.
You can see that after the first wave of vehicles has breached the shore, you've got another line coming in.
The exercises have taken on greater urgency in recent years, as Chinese President Xi Jinping has called on a rapid military modernization by 2027. Chinese fighter jets have flown into Taiwan's self-declared air defense identification zone for years, but recently the number has spiked to record levels. A Chinese embassy spokesperson said Taiwan is part of China, and there's no such thing as incursions into Taiwan's ADIZ. Top U.S. intelligence officials said the threat to Taiwan is acute through 2030, but that an invasion is a remote possibility.
What they're trying to show here, not just to China but to the world, is that they are prepared for any eventuality, that they've got the resolve, and that they're training for the worst case scenarios.
But 绝对不要认为台湾人民会在压力下屈服，我们会持续充实国防，展现自我防卫的决心。
Since 2016, President Tsai Ing-wen has led Taiwan's democracy, navigating its relationship with China to maintain a status quo that's kept a precarious peace for decades. Taiwan is self-governing, but is limited in its engagement on the international stage.
So this is the office of the Ministry of Foreign Affairs here in Taipei, and I just noticed all these flags. These flags represent the 14 countries that have official diplomatic relations with Taiwan.
Even though we are not recognized diplomatically by that many countries, but Taiwan's existence is indisputable.
Mainland China, known as the People's Republic of China, or PRC, maintains that it is the sole legitimate government of China, and Taiwan is a part of it.
We have democratic elections. So if you look at Taiwan, it looks like a country. It runs like a country. Taiwan has never been, for any single day, run by the PRC. So this is a reality, and this is also the status quo.
In 1979, the U.S. officially recognized the Beijing government as the sole legal government of China, but only acknowledged, rather than recognized, China's claim over Taiwan via its One China principle. By refraining from calling Taiwan a sovereign nation, the U.S. preserves its One China policy and the stability of the Taiwan Strait.
If we accept One China principle, that means it's the end for the existence of Taiwan. Taiwan will become like Hong Kong, and it will be the end of Taiwan's de facto independence. So this is something that the Taiwanese people will never accept.
Fears of China's authoritarian ambitions aren't unfounded. While Xi Jinping has promoted peaceful unification, he said violence isn't out of the question.
我们不承诺放弃使用武力，保留采取一切必要措施的选项。
And historically, despite a pledge to maintain Hong Kong's democratic institutions, in 2020, China cracked down on democracy activists and effectively dismantled its once vibrant civil society.
China's ambition is global, and the purpose of it is to expand the influence of authoritarianism. In the expansion of authoritarianism, Taiwan is on the front line, and we understand our responsibility as a democracy. We cannot fall.
Its fall would also have global economic implications. Taiwan is a critical cog in international trade, producing over 90% of the most advanced semiconductors that power our consumer devices and military defense systems.
The Taiwan Semiconductor Manufacturing Company is one of the two companies who are able to produce these latest 5 nanometer semiconductors. The other company is Samsung from South Korea.
Could Taiwan's leadership in this space be one more reason the Chinese, let's say, take aggressive action to unify by force?
It is possible. The key words for China's industrial policy is actually self-reliance, autonomy, and self-control. So TSMC, during the process of military unification, TSMC can be, destroyed completely. If that's the outcome, it will not benefit or facilitate China's pursuance of technology autonomy.
If the most advanced semiconductors, the supply of this technology came grinding to a halt, the world would grind to a halt. Taiwan then seems to really become the center of the world. Is that fair to say?
I think it's fair. It's fair, absolutely.
It's about 1 million degrees here, 100% humidity in the dead of the afternoon. And some of these guys are completely unfazed. They are so focused on what they have to do here.
As tensions with China escalate, private organizations are offering civilian trainings to prepare for a potential invasion.
So it looks like this is going to be an evac from a vehicle. One of the components of these training sessions is search and rescue.
那我们现在先 A 组先做好准备，来到我这边，好不好？
Former Taiwanese Special Forces soldier and policy advocate Enoch Wu served on the staff of Taiwan's National Security Council. He offers disaster response trainings through his nonprofit Forward Alliance.
And we're teaching folks how to use simple tools, piece of wood, to leveraging crib to free up folks who might be trapped under heavy objects. Whether you're preparing for missile strikes or natural disasters, together, search and rescue combined with our first aid, it's an ability to save lives. We also see what's going on in Ukraine, what happened in Hong Kong, and we see that what we take for granted every day may change overnight. And folks are here because they want to be that active member in the community who can help if the time ever comes.
Demand for the course has skyrocketed, with hundreds trained monthly. Part of the goal is to demonstrate the masses would step up in defense of Taiwan, in the hopes this would deter China.
Is Taiwan's military prepared for the security challenges of today?
I think the PLA outnumbers our armed forces by 12 to 1. Okay. On top of that, they continue to evolve and invest in their capabilities. So I don't think any responsible policymaker will tell you that we are completely prepared. We can only be better prepared, and we have to be.
In 2021, China's official defense budget was $209 billion. Taiwan's military budget for 2021 was $15.4 billion. China also boasts over 1 million ground force personnel, while Taiwan has only 88,000. In 1979, the U.S. passed the Taiwan Relations Act, which established a policy of strategic ambiguity. While it commits to selling defensive weaponry to Taiwan, it stops short of guaranteeing military intervention in the event of an attack. Recently, a small number of U.S. troops have provided training to Taiwanese soldiers.
Now to the rising tensions between the United States and China. House Speaker Nancy Pelosi's expected visit to Taiwan is sparking outrage from Beijing, which called it a major provocation. Now China is flexing its military muscle ahead of the anticipated trip.
Her visit, in whatever form, at whatever time during his tenure, carries high political sensitivities. We firmly and strongly condemn and protest against it.
Uncertain about whether the U.S. would defend Taiwan, some Taiwanese are taking the defense of the island into their own hands through private, tactical skills courses, but with a major disadvantage. To prepare for possible invasion, Taiwanese people are signing up for tactical skills courses.
从不论是现役的同仁，他会希望利用他休假的时间来精进他在部队中所相对应比较欠缺的那一部分，但是能够真正应用在实务的部分。
JEA is a military skills association and airsoft center run by an Army veteran. About 40% of its clientele are active duty Taiwanese military.
是可以的。如果在那个时候战事真的发生了，那这些东西跟技能，不管是现役部队也好，或者是我们的后备部队的弟兄也好，那这些东西都是他在战场上可以延续他、提高他存活率的一个技能。
But as firearms are tightly controlled in Taiwan, the courses are taught using airsoft guns.
One of the long-standing criticisms of the Taiwanese military is that even for the professional standing force, they don't get a whole lot of access to ammo, so the live fire training component of their time served is very, very limited.
有没有胜算是不知道，因为毕竟我们两国也真的没有打过战。在平常一些演训的时候，其实我们都针对他们的侵略的方式，我们做我们防卫国家的一些动作。对，因为毕竟我们不是要去侵略其他国家，我们是要保护自己的国家。
Are the Taiwanese people as equipped to defend their nation in the way that we've seen Ukrainians step up to the plate?
There is no existing tradition of arming and preparing and training civilians in Taiwan, similar to that that we see certainly in Ukraine. Now, given the current context, there is a lot of work being done to move towards an all-of-society response to external invasion.
Though they have different approaches to dealing with China, Taiwan's two major political parties want to maintain the status quo. A 2021 Taiwan poll found 85% of respondents agreed. U.S. and Taiwanese officials say China's saber rattling is part of a psychological warfare strategy meant to erode Taiwan's resistance to unification. It uses economic coercion, cyber attacks, as well as propaganda. Fringe, pro-unification groups are also working to shift public opinion.
So I'm about to head into the offices of the Chinese Unification Promotion Party. It's a very controversial organization, and it's headed by someone who is, I don't know, even more controversial. You might even call him notorious.
The Chinese Unification Promotion Party is headed by Chang An-lei, known as White Wolf, a former leader of one of Taiwan's largest criminal triads. He also spent a decade in U.S. federal prison, convicted of conspiracy to distribute heroin.
Hi, Mr. Chang.
Okay.
Hi.
Welcome.
Thank you. I'm Adam. Nice to meet you.
I'm Wolf.
Wolf. Oh, the White Wolf?
Yes.
After his release, he founded his party in China. He later returned to Taiwan, where the party is now based.
China's future will be People's Republic of China.
Yeah. Under this flag.
Yes.
White Wolf says his organization and the CCP operate independently, but have the same goal: uniting Taiwan and China.
The Taiwanese people don't want unification, so how do you try to promote peaceful unification? What are you doing to change people's minds?
I tell them, be a Chinese, you'll be proud. First. Second, only peaceful unification will protect people's life and property.
Peaceful unification or China will attack?
In the future, we have to face the truth. So if we don't have a peaceful communication, in the future we're going to face war.
So the Chinese, in their mindset, are fully aware that you must always prepare for war. War taking, again, different forms, some of which is kinetic, it's military, but war is also calling upon organized crime in a targeted society. It is using disinformation, misinformation, trolls online and whatnot to wage cognitive warfare against a targeted society.
It's been rumored for the last week or so that Speaker Nancy Pelosi was on her way to Taiwan. And the Taipei 101 seems to just be confirming what we've all thought could be happening.
Speaker Pelosi has a history criticizing Chinese policy and its record on human rights. She's met with the Dalai Lama, whom China had exiled from Tibet, and supported Hong Kong's mass protests against China's overreach. In 1991, she also unfurled a banner in Tiananmen Square in memory of Chinese democracy activists massacred during the 1989 anti-government protests.
So look at that. All that media waiting out at the driveway of the hotel gives you a sense of how big a deal this is.
Ms. Pelosi is also a defender for democracy. We are all ready to fight for our country, to fight for our freedom, to fight for the status we have now. Yeah.
There he is, the white wolf.
Why she come here? What a purpose? No reason.
Do you think this is going to cause a war?
Nobody can guarantee. Because mainland China will give the red line. Don't cross this line.
Yeah.
No, she almost crossed the line.
I think I just saw her in that Cadillac right there that just pulled into the garage. You can hear the raucous crowd really from both sides. This is not an unprecedented visit by a sitting Speaker of the House. Newt Gingrich visited Taiwan 25 years ago. There was not nearly the fuss that was made about this, but the world has changed.
Today, our delegation, of which I'm very proud, came to Taiwan to make unequivocally clear we will not abandon our commitment to Taiwan, and we are proud of our enduring friendship. America's determination to preserve democracy here in Taiwan and around the world remains ironclad.
Leading up to the night of your arrival, there was a lot of buzz in the air. People were deeply appreciative of the visit and what it signaled not only to the Taiwanese people, but also to China. There was also a little bit of concern that, well, Nancy Pelosi's here today, she'll be gone tomorrow. What happens the next day? I'm curious, what did you accomplish on this trip?
Well, the most important, obviously, our purpose on any trip is to talk about security, economics, and governance. In terms of Taiwan, of course, we have common security interests. We have strong economic ties, and we're big admirers of the democracy in Taiwan. We were not going to allow Taiwan to be isolated because of the president of China. That was just never going to happen. They're acting like bullies. They're acting like they're scared because Taiwan has so much to offer, whether it's in this field of global health, climate change, technology as we go forward.
Is there a move toward changing the status quo?
No, I don't think so. We have never said that. As we went there, we said we support the status quo. We don't want any escalation militarily or any way to change the status quo from either side.
As China rapidly modernizes its military, it's clear that there's one target in mind, and that is the invasion of Taiwan and what they call the reunification of the motherland. Doesn't this signal that perhaps it's time to move away from strategic ambiguity and be clearer about what the U.S. commitment is to defending Taiwan?
Our commitment is one, to support Taiwan's ability to to defend itself, whether that's in arms sales or whatever. A recognition that if China should move on Taiwan, there has to be, again, something other than tanks, but asymmetric at the beaches, defending against airstrikes and the rest. Now, the president did say when he was in Japan that if China invaded Taiwan, that we would be there to protect them, which is more of a statement than any of us have made in that regard.
President Biden has said on 4 occasions that the U.S. would defend Taiwan in the event of an invasion. Most recently, in a September 2022 interview with CBS's 60 Minutes, causing many to question if it is a change to U.S. policy.
So unlike Ukraine, to be clear, sir, U.S. forces, U.S. men and women, would defend Taiwan in the event of a Chinese invasion?
Yes. The White House has walked back each statement, confirming no change to U.S. policy. In a statement, a Chinese embassy spokesperson said the issue of Speaker Pelosi's visit to Taiwan is not about democracy, but a provocation and infringement on China's sovereignty and territorial integrity, and that while China will, quote, strive for peaceful reunification, end quote, it will never tolerate Taiwan independence or interference by external forces.
Certainly, recent developments and the assault on liberal democracy in Hong Kong and people's freedoms, not to mention the military invasion of Ukraine by Russia, is a sign that we have entered or re-entered an era where autocrats, when they have the means, will now act upon their threats to try to undermine the liberal democratic order.
Is this part of a battle, a global battle between autocracy and democracy?
I think there's no question about that. Putin, Ukraine, China, Taiwan, they are manifestations of the battle between autocracy and democracy. And that is a fight that we're all engaged in.
You know, at the end of the day, no one is going to care about Taiwan more than we do. No one's going to fight our fight for us. So our challenge now is to find a way to come together and meet this challenge head on. Everything we're doing with our military, with our civil defense effort, is after one single objective, and that is to prevent war from happening. I think the only chance we have is to show that the 23 million people here living in Taiwan are united behind this common cause, this single cause, to defend our home.